Hey everyone, it's Kikle. I hope you're doing well today, and I have a review here for another little Christmas special I currently am watching through a little bit of, kind of off and on, called 10 Christmas Classics Spirit of the Season, and I just talked about a story on here called Benji's Very Own Christmas Story, which is part of the Benji Dog movies. If you haven't seen those before, check that out. It was very cool. But I'm going to talk about the thing now that I watched immediately after that on this set, called Johann's Gift to Christmas from 1991. It's about a half an hour on the dot, and it's not very good. I thought it was relatively sweet, but not really something I'd recommend to anybody. Not really. This is kind of based on the story, and I thought maybe like Benji that this would be a short TV movie, in this case, TV Christmas special from 1991. I thought it would be based on like a franchise, kind of like Benji was. Maybe it was a little Christmas special of that. And it's an odd little creation that I have to talk about, but essentially what it boils down to, in concept, before I even get to the details about it that are crazy shit, essentially it's based on the story, if anybody doesn't know, the tale about how the song Silent Night was created. Essentially we follow a little mouse named Johann, who is a church mouse, in a church, literally, but he's a claymation figure. And there's another mouse he encounters that's the richest mouse in the neighborhood, or in the village, or whatever. I think it takes place in the 1800s, judging by the costumes. The little village they show you, that's basically a drawn picture that they zoom into with some snowflakes dripping down, either as CGI or something in the beginning of the movie. But it's essentially about the creation of Silent Night as a song, from the perspective of this little church mouse named Johann, and the older man mouse in this that's kind of supposed to teach him some song that he knows, eventually spirals into after they show this priest and this, or I don't know if he's a priest or a preacher. I never found out if they were Catholic or not. I don't know anything about the creation of the Silent Night song aside from the basic story. But there's a priest or a preacher or whatever who has an organist. The organist is extremely talented. I'm assuming this stuff is a joke amongst, you know, the idea of the original Silent Night song to entertain children. Because I want to make it very clear, in the same way Power Rangers and like Bluey and Blue's Clues are specifically made for children. It doesn't matter if they don't make sense. Think of the new Spidey cartoon. If those things don't make sense, it's because they're for really young kids. And that's fine, despite my love for things like Power Rangers and Blue's Clues. Point is, some things are meant for just kids, and it doesn't have to make a lot of sense to be special to them, but also kind of just well made for them. We have to judge things by that. In this case, I think that this is well made for its time, for a very low budget, aside from the claymation stuff, which was stop motion with clay figures. I mentioned that a moment ago. That stuff looked really good. But when you get to like the priest, preacher, whatever he is, and his organist, the music the organist plays is phenomenal. I don't think it's him playing it as an actor, but it's the music they made for the movie that was really good. I really loved that. The priest-preacher guy is super obnoxious. I can't stand him. He drives me fucking nuts. I can't stand this bitch. He's always mad at the organist because the organist has so much talent, and he like refuses to grant like praise to that man or pat him on the back and tell him, hey, you did a great job. He's always trying to correct him and stuff, but this guy's clearly overqualified for this job at this church. Anyway, within 30 minutes, a lot of it is the mice adventure in a very an American Tale, if you know those old mice movies that I've never seen all the way through because they just did not appeal to me at all, and they would pop up on Cartoon Network or something like that, and I would always turn the channel to Nickelodeon or Disney or whoever wasn't playing that shit at the time. In a very American Tale way, they do this mice adventure thing about the old man mouse who also gets hurt at one point, teaching the young mouse this song, Silent Night. But then they show it to the priest, preacher, whatever he is. I'm just going to call him a priest. Fuck it. They show it to the priest and the organist, and they basically adopt that as their song. They write the lyrics together, and then they sing it to the church. And then we zoom out at the end of the special of everybody in the village in the same painting we saw earlier on in the beginning of the movie when the credits were rolling, of everybody singing the song Silent Night. Some out of tune, some are not. So it kind of varies from scene to scene. I love the song Silent Night. Of course, being a Christian, how could I not? Of course, being a fan of Christmas, how could I not? But I heard Silent Night so many times watching this, especially like the one where it's the priest and the organist singing it before the final like church choir singing it at the very end for the credits, which was pretty off-key, but pretty. The organist and priest singing it was awful. I hated that shit when they're singing in front of the church. But the movie itself, I think it's a sweet idea for a children's TV Christmas special. It has a budget when it comes to the claymation stuff, when it comes to the music, that they somehow got somebody to create for this, for the organist creation of this. Both of those things were fantastic. It's everything else. It's the acting, it's the priest and the organist actors. It's all of that stuff. The directing of it feels kind of cheap. There's an angel that comes to life in this little short, whatever, to talk to our mouse named Johann. I keep trying to call him Johann, but it's Johann. She keeps talking to him, coming to life. She's a statue in the church. That's why I think they're Catholic. We Baptists would not have that in our church. Not to be smug, but it's true. Anyway, that's just an assumption, an observation. Interestingly enough, the young girl that plays this angel coming to life that talks to Johann about this song, almost like God guiding him to find out about this song and have the old man show him the song to begin with, she's played by Sarah Polley, of all people. Yeah, Sarah Polley from the remake of Dawn of the Dead, the Zack Snyder remake. You know, the lead actress of that, Anna, I think was her name, if I remember correctly. Yeah, she's in this as a little girl, which really threw me for a loop when I kept seeing the name Sarah Polley and was trying to figure out who the fuck is Sarah Polley. I know that name. It's her from Dawn of the Dead's remake, which was kind of wild. Interestingly enough, also, there are a couple of Goosebumps alums involved here. There is a guy in here who plays in Night in Terror Tower and something else. The director of this, what's her name? Renee Bonnier? I don't know how to say that name. It's French. She directed two of the worst Goosebumps TV show episodes ever in existence. One that really broke my heart about one of my favorite books called You Can't Scare Me, about the mud monsters. Have you ever read that? It's a great read. I love it. It's kind of an urban legend book. She directed the awful, and I don't blame her for this. This could be a writer's room thing or anything for that show. Despite the costumes for the mud monsters looking great in the episode. But it was a comedy rendition adaptation of that original book that I love so much. And I hate that. I hate that episode. But she was directing an even worse episode called Be Careful What You Wish For, which is kind of a monkey's paw tale, but it's awful. Like, it's about granting wishes, and every time a kid wishes for something, something else goes wrong. And it's like the way she worded her wish goes wrong. I love R.L. Stine. I'm a huge Goosebumps fan. This chick directing, with the budget she probably had to work with and the payment she probably received, was probably not very good. You know? I feel like the writer did something I knew. I guess not, from what I can tell on this. But at the end of the day, Johann's Gift to Christmas, the claymation's beautiful. Like I said, the music is really beautiful in the organ part of it. But outside of that, not really into it. Not really into it at all. I don't think this was as special, even though it's a little bit older, almost by a couple of decades, than Benji's Very Own Christmas Story, the thing I just reviewed with the whole Benji franchise Christmas special. That was really special and sweet. There was a lot of budget and passion into it, and even the way it was remastered for this, I'm assuming it's public domain, just like I'm assuming Johann's Gift to Christmas is, you know, supposed to be the same way, a public domain release under Mill Creek Entertainment in this case for this DVD box. It wasn't as passionately put together as that Benji's short that I talked about. But Johann's Gift to Christmas was not the worst thing ever. I just don't think I would ever watch it again. And for it to not even be a full-on retelling of the story of Silent Night, the song, I mean, like I said, it's not engaging enough to make up for being a different spin on that and having all the comedy in there and all the weird children's humor from like low-budget straight-to-video releases and TV movies for Christmas stories like this. It didn't have the passion in it that I think it should have had, but I don't blame everybody involved. It feels like they weren't given very much money to work with anyway, but again, the claymation was so top-notch that who am I kidding, man? That looks like it had money in that part of it. Maybe that's where all the budget went. I don't know. But the location in the church and stuff, some of the effects, as they use a little bit of CGI sometimes, and cutting away from things to save some money, those things didn't look that great. But the set especially was not the best. Not the best at all. Anyway, here we go again. I keep trying to call it fucking Johann. Johann's Gift of Christmas was okay. It was really, really okay. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. I don't even know if I really like it, to be honest with you. It's just really fine. It's the kind of thing that I would worry if I showed my, like, 2 or 3-year-old, if I ever had a kid. If I showed him at the age of 2 or 3 something like this, I fear that they would make me rewatch this over and over and over again, and I would not want to do that. But I feel like that's what would happen. Just like when you show your kid Barney or The Wiggles, and they play the fucking fruit salad song for you a million times over and over again. Now that YouTube exists, that can happen. They can play it over and over again. Back in the day, you had the mercy of cable, where it came on like once every month, you know, or once every week on reruns, you know, and you were saved by how restrictive cable was once upon a time. But anyway, Johann's Gift of Christmas, if I had to rate it on a 5-star basis, it's not the greatest thing ever. Again, I don't think I'd really watch it again, but it's kind of a high 2 out of 5 stars for me. That's about it. It's about all I can grant it, to be honest. Not very special for a TV special. So anyway, have you seen it? What do you think about it? What did you like more if you saw that and Benji's Christmas special thing? Which one did you like more? I think most people would lean towards Benji, but I could see somebody watching this review, seeing me be nitpicky and being offended because maybe they grew up on this tape. Excuse me, my voice is still recovering after this cold I had like a month and a half ago. Cold. Maybe walking pneumonia. I don't know what it was. But let me know what you think about this Johann's Gift of Christmas down below. I'd love to hear everything you have to say, especially if you grew up on this, if you're a little bit older than me, because I've never heard of this before, and I was born 3 years after it came out. So, anyway, thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.